Did the sheriff of Marlboro County keep his word to you?
He did not.
Months into our final disrespects investigation, we now know what the Marlboro County Sheriff's Office did when a dead man's family filed criminal allegations against the county's deputy probate judge.
Just because of small town politics, we didn't want to go to somebody who was not going to listen to us.
For months, the sheriff's office did nothing.
Can I talk to you about this letter you sent us?
I'm good.
I don't think they ever had any intention of doing anything. I think they intended to deceive us.
In January, Hollis Slade died unexpectedly after a medic called to his Bennettsville home. Within hours, Slade's friends arrived and began going in and out of his home with his wife inside. His wife suffers from severe dementia and cannot be left alone. Slade installed multiple cameras outside his home to keep watch on his wife and thousands of dollars in foxhounds. Those same cameras captured what Slade's family believes was property stolen in the hours after his death. Those cameras also caught Tammy Bullock, the county's appointed deputy probate judge, rummaging through the dead man's home in search of a will. Hollis Slade's family found these videos within days of his death and took them straight to the Marlboro County Sheriff's Office asking for an investigation that never happened. And here's Fox 46 Chief Investigator Jody Barr with tonight's final disrespects investigation.
Hollis Slade security cameras captured the moment his sister and niece arrived at his home from Indiana and came face to face with a group of Hollis Slade's friends. They were escorted into the house by Ricky Gardner.
Everything else is something we're driving.
Video showed Gardner earlier that day loading property into his truck, property he'd carried out of Hollis Slade's home. The county's deputy probate judge made an appearance too and spent the day going in and out of the home. This all happened while Hollis Slade's wife, Joyce, was inside. Joyce suffers from severe dementia.
It's kind of like you got $2,000 worth of tracking collars sitting in there.
What about all the money in the bank?
It's unreal. And I'm telling
The
you,
401k stack.
I hate to leave $2,000 worth of tracking collars and two garments sitting there. I swear I hate to leave all this.
It's going to be sad if somebody else comes.
Brother get it. No, he didn't want him to have it. He didn't want him to have it. I know he didn't want him to have it. I heard him say it.
The video showed Bullock and Charlotte Green plundering through Slade's truck, then joked about taking something out of it.
Oh, me and Tammy got 4 packs of cigarettes out there too. We figured he didn't need them no more.
Well, I know where a whole bunch of
And minutes before Beth and Sarah Bowling pulled up, those cameras captured Tammy Bullock telling the group this.
So, if anything comes up and you need to, you let him know. You let them know that his secretary for the past 30 years is now a probate judge and if they need me.
But Bullock wasn't the probate judge. She was probate judge Mark Heath's appointed deputy, and she did not hold an oath of office at the time.
There's so many videos.
When Beth and Sarah Bowling found these videos on Slade's phone a few days later, they called the county coroner to ask where to file a criminal complaint. The coroner suggested Marlboro County Sheriff Charles Lemon.
We had not contacted anyone or spoken to the police in any sort of way. We were frankly a little bit nervous to go talk to anybody, and that was who the coroner we were talking to recommended we go see. So we went to the sheriff first.
In fact, in that meeting with Sheriff Lemon, that's one of the things I expressed to him is I said, I hesitate to even tell you because I don't know who I can trust in this town, because I already know that somebody with at least what was purported to me as an official capacity was involved in the ransacking of my brother's house.
We thought initially that Tammy was a probate judge just because of kind of small town politics and that sort of thing. We didn't want to go to somebody who was not going to listen to us.
Beth and Sarah met with Sheriff Lemon here at his office. The coroner was in the meeting along with the sheriff's lead investigator.
Okay, this is Matthew. This is Tammy Bullock, the presumed probate judge.
Bowling told them everything she'd found in the videos, from Tammy Bullock claiming she was the probate judge to things the Bowlings believed were stolen from her brother's home.
Additionally, we also expressed, how we were kind of nervous about the whole situation. The sheriff seemed to imply that maybe that was warranted with the Bennettsville City Police and that he would take care of it. He certainly never told us we couldn't go to the Bennettsville City Police, but he definitely led us to believe that he had it handled and there was no need to talk to them at all.
So you walked out of that office and thought you filed the complaint and the right thing would be done.
Yes.
But nothing happened. The weeks turned to months, and after calls and emails to the sheriff's office, Slade's family never got a confirmation of an investigation, and we found out why. We got this letter from Sheriff Charles Lemon last month. He wrote it after we threatened legal action over 2 Freedom of Information Act requests he ignored. The sheriff confirmed in the letter his office never opened an investigation into Tammy Bullock or into any of the other criminal allegations the Bowlings reported to him in January.
The sheriff writes, there was no incident report done, no interviews, no body cams, no tickets, no photos, no recordings, no warrants, no witnesses or victim statements. What do you think?
I think they were intentionally being deceitful. They assured us that they would be taking care of it, and we, put together all of the videos in an online drive and sent it to someone at the sheriff's department, and we, were contacting them, asking questions about it, and getting very little response. And then he specifically told us that they would start bringing people in and questioning them separately to try and figure out who did what and who took what, and that they would then help us recover those lost items. So I don't think they ever had any intention of doing anything. They clearly didn't do anything. I think they intended to deceive us.
The sheriff says he had reasons. He claimed in his letter that since Hollis Slade's home was in the city limits of Bennettsville police should have investigated. But the Bowlings say the sheriff never told them that. And the sheriff claimed Bowling had already reported this to Bennettsville police, and he could not investigate because of that, even writing that Bowling was not happy with Bennettsville police when she filed her report with the sheriff in January. Beth Bowling says that's a lie.
Did you ever at any point in time call the Bennettsville Police Department before you met with the sheriff?
No, I did not.
Had you had any conversations with the Bennettsville Police Department about those security cameras or Tammy Bullock?
I did not talk to anybody at the Bennettsville Police Department until 4 or 5 weeks ago. It was my first interaction with them at all.
When did Beth Bowling contact the Bennettsville Police Department to file a report?
Never.
We showed the sheriff's letter to Bennettsville Police Chief Kevin Miller. Miller says the sheriff's statements about the city's involvement in the Slade case are not just untrue, but the opposite of the truth.
Says Ms. Bowling advised she was not happy, in quotes, with the Bennettsville Police Department and wanted us to investigate the incident that occurred.
When did you know videos existed in this case?
When I saw your report.
The sheriff also claimed in his letter that he contacted the county prosecutor after that January meeting. Our investigation found that did not happen. The solicitor told us in September he never got anything from the sheriff's office on the Slade family's complaints. This email chain from the solicitor's office shows neither the solicitor nor his chief prosecutor had any idea of the Slade family's criminal allegations. Not until Beth Bowling emailed the solicitor on June 3rd, asking to have someone investigate the people and the events captured in these videos.
When you read this letter, does it appear as though the sheriff may be throwing the Bennettsville Police Department under the bus?
From what I've read in here, it appears so.
We tried many times over the past month to interview Sheriff Charles Lemon, but the sheriff ignored every attempt. Then last week, we found his police truck parked outside the McCall Police Department, a small town outside Bennettsville. We watched him spend half a day riding through neighborhoods in a police truck with Deputy Fred Knight, who happens to be the former Marlboro County Sheriff. We watched and waited for Lemon to return to his police truck.
Sheriff, good evening.
How you doing?
Can I talk to you about this letter you sent us?
I'm good.
Why did you not investigate the Hollis Slade case?
We found the sheriff again that night at a county council meeting. He wouldn't talk there either, but he shot video of us shooting video of him.
Did the sheriff of Marlboro County keep his word to you?
No, he did not.
What would you say to Sheriff Lemon if you were in front of him right now?
I would say I'm very disappointed Sheriff Lemon, that you led me to believe that you were going to investigate, pursue, taking care of this matter. I put my faith and my trust in you at a very vulnerable time in my life. And I guess I'd say angry and sad that that did not take place.
The Marlboro County Sheriff's Office held on to this case from January through July without investigating anything. The State Law Enforcement Division told me it received a request to investigate from the Sheriff's Office on July 8th. SLED finally opened a criminal investigation on August 30th. Agents continue investigating the Hollis Slade estate, having just last week received some of the digital evidence in this case. Deputy Probate Judge Tammy Bullock resigned from office 2 weeks ago. Neither Bullock nor any of the others in those videos would respond to our multiple interview requests. For Fox 46 Investigates, I'm Jody Barr.